think those early experiences led you to writing about seagulls?
Well, seagulls led me to that. That was a kid. I'd go out and there was I grew up in Southern California, and there was a jetty, that breakwater that went out into the sea, and you could climb out of these huge boulders and kind of hide yourself down in there. And then after a while, the seagulls would forget you there, and they would come along gliding on the lift that the wind would make as it went over the jetty. And they glide by, and if you were hidden down there, you could hear the sound, the wind over their wings. And that sound, there's something magical about it. There was a time years later when I had a very strange kind of mystical experience when I was starving as a writer and couldn't pay the rent and all that. And I heard what sounded like a voice. And it sounded like it was behind me to the right, and it said, Jonathan Livingston Seagull. I had no idea what that meant. I went home and locked the door and sat down, and I said, what does this mean? Why would I hear this weird, what's a Jonathan Livingston Seagull? And nothing happened. And I was just about ready to say, this is the strangest experience of my life. I have no idea what happened. It is psychic powers gone astray. When the wall disappeared in front of my desk, and all of a sudden it was widescreen IMAX. I was in the air, and Jonathan Seagull was my attempt to write this movie that I saw in front of me in my own words. It was like a dream where you knew, obviously this bird was a Jonathan Livingston Seagull. What's going to happen? Well, just watch, Richard. 8 years later, and I wasn't in California anymore, I was living in Iowa. And I woke up from a dead sleep. Bam, there's the end of the story. Not as a vision, but all of us, I remembered him, and I know how that story had to end and how it had to go on from there. So by now I'd had 8 years of writing practice. So I wrote fast as I could write, and wham, that story was done. And it went off, and I just felt this kind of divine direction for it. And I knew, am I ever a lucky writer? This thing is just going to go crazy. And I got the fastest rejection I've ever had in my life. Came just right back. This is not our cup of tea. She said, well, we'll give you something nice. So they paid $5,000, and they printed 5,000 copies. And that came out, and then some readers saw it, and they liked it, and they suggested it to others, and it just went crazy from it.
And your new book?
New book is called Hypnotizing Maria, and it again, it's an idea I had in my mind for like 5 years, and I couldn't find out how to write it. And I would make chapter one after chapter one, and I'd just throw them away. I said, that's all wrong.
Is writing as easy as flying?
Oh, don't I wish. What did somebody say about writing is easy, just sit down and open a vein? Yeah. Writers, as you know, face dragons. And a lot of people connect that dragon with an empty page. How do I start? That's where self-consciousness comes in. Page, instead of a challenge, became an opportunity. Here's where I get to say all these things that matter so much to me, but that sound crazy to me.
If someone said, okay, Richard, you have one choice here. For the rest of your life, you can either fly as much as you want to fly.
Don't say it! Don't finish the sentence!
Or write as much as you want to, but God, you can't do both.
Can't do both.
Where's your favorite?
I would try to...
but one or the other.
Wow, one or the other. I don't think I could survive if I couldn't do... Maybe I could get along without flying. And I don't know that I can really answer your question. I think I'd just like to leave the planet having done both to the full.